This is the explanation of the principle for the flu A and B test we performed in lab. So this is performed on a nasopharyngeal swab, meaning the very back of the nose, where the nose and the throat meet, is where the swab will go. And if either flu type A or flu type B is present in that area of the patient, the flu antigens will be on the swab. The swab then comes to the lab and we put it into a buffer extraction solution, and any of those viruses and their antigens will then be in the solution. We then take our special little dropper transfer pipette and we take that solution and we place it in the card. So in the card is an immunoassay setup. There are antibodies against flu A and flu B, and those antibodies have colored particles attached to them, so that if there is flu antigen in the patient's sample, it is now going to be bound up by these antibodies, and the sample is going to travel from the top of the card toward the bottom of the card. After those antibodies bind to the antigens from flu A or flu B, and they travel downward to the test area, there are immobilized or fixed antibodies in the test area that also will bind to the flu antigen, which will make all of the antibodies with the colored particles stop in this area, and that's why we see a colored line. All those colored particles have gotten together there. Of course, there are always extra antibodies in the card, and so the extra antibodies that do not have the flu antigen attached will continue to travel down the card. As these travel down the card, they come to a place where the antibodies themselves will be bound by immobilized antibodies in the control area. They will cause the antibodies with their colored particles to stop in this area, and that's why we see a colored line in the control area. This is also the reason that a test is invalid if you don't see a line in the control area, because this control line is proving that the sample traveled all the way through the testing system. This is the exact same principle that we use for the HCG test. The only difference is that the antibodies in an HCG test will bind to HCG antigen in the patient's sample. In this example, those antibodies are binding to antigen on the flu virus.